and symbolic humanitarian gestures shift the trajectory of a protracted war. As Ukraine and Russia engage in one of their largest prisoner swaps since the invasion began, both sides are carefully balancing compassion with political calculation. While the return of captured soldiers offers a moment of relief for many families, the exchange also exposes deep-seated mistrust, competing narratives, and stalled diplomatic progress. Now, against the backdrop of a brutal conflict nearing its fourth year, this development raises more questions than answers about what peace and victory might ultimately look like. Well, as we delve into the details right after the break, these and many more will be detailed in today's Flash News. Good afternoon and welcome. I am Tabitha Alco. Let's begin. A large-scale prisoner exchange between Ukraine and Russia is underway, with both nations confirming the release of captured soldiers, including those who have been in detention since the early stages of the war. The development is being cautiously welcomed as a humanitarian step forward, yet underlying tensions remain. We see that the swap reportedly agreed during recent peace talks in Turkey includes wounded servicemen and military detainees under the age of 25. Now, Ukrainian sources say this initiative is part of their broader efforts to retrieve nationals detained by Russia since 2022 when the war began, many of whom were involved in the defense of strategic cities like Mariupol. And Russian officials, meanwhile, have characterized the exchange as a significant diplomatic achievement, emphasizing their role in the logistics and support provided to returning personnel. Take a look. Well, right there on your screen. Video you just watched right there, an emotional scene right there, but then it has not come without friction. We see that Russia accused Ukraine over the weekend of halting the repatriation of fallen soldiers who remains allegedly leaving dozens of body bags in refrigerated trucks on border sites. Now, Ukrainian officials pushed back, asserting that no final agreement had been reached on that particular element of the swap and citing ongoing logistical negotiations. Also, reports questions Ukraine's consistency in honoring terms of the agreement and whether the delays were deliberate. Now, highlighting potential political motives behind Kyiv's handling of the body repatriation processes. Now, while noting also Ukraine's increasing dependence on international support. Also, reports have focused on the human toll of the war, framing the exchange as a significant emotional victory for families and a step toward conflict de-escalation. They tend to underscore Russia's responsibility for initiating the war and the continued suffering in occupied regions. Strategically, both Russia and Ukraine appear to be leveraging the exchange for domestic and international optics. For Kyiv, securing the return of its troops bolsters national morale and reinforces its narrative of resilience and humanitarian leadership. whereas for Moscow, highlighting its role in initiating and facilitating the swap helps project a more moderated diplomatic image amid growing scrutiny over the war's depth and toll duration. Now, also, we'll take a look at observers. Observers have noted that Russia's inclusion of over 6,000 bodies in the exchange serves a dual purpose, acknowledging the scale of losses while also shifting attention from its battlefield casualties to its capacity for negotiation. Now, could this be a calculated move by Moscow to redefine its war narrative amid mounting international pressure and military fatigue at home? On the other hand, is Ukraine navigating a delicate balance between genuine diplomacy and public image management as its counter-offensive efforts face renewed challenges? Now, we see that despite this exchange, broader peace negotiations remain elusive. Talks held in Istanbul last week lasted just over an hour and yielded no significant breakthroughs beyond the agreement on the prisoner swap. Analysts on both sides of the political spectrum have described the diplomatic process as symbolic at best, with real progress likely dependent on shifts in military dynamics or external pressure from major international actors. Now, as the war approaches its fourth year, think about that. Humanitarian gestures like this one, while welcome, are viewed by many as insufficient in addressing the root causes of the conflict. The question remains, will exchanges like these lead to meaningful peace, or are they temporary pauses in a war with no clear end in sight? You can think about this war getting to its fourth year. That's a pathetic one. Well, moving on to the United States, U.S. Marines deployed The administration has defended the deployment as necessary to restore order and protect federal interests, arguing that recent events justify a stronger show of force. Now, while federal law restricts the military from engaging in domestic policing without a specific presidential directive, legal experts note that invoking the Insurrection Act could provide the necessary authority, though such a move would likely face significant political backlash. Now, the unrest in Los Angeles has sparked broader national debate over immigration enforcement. Also, we see state sovereignty and the militarization of protest response. With no timeline for the withdrawal of either the National Guard or the Marines, the city remains in a tense and uncertain state. Well, moving over, we got this in a new development. A Chinese man in the United States pleads guilty to exporting weapons to North Korea. A Chinese man in the United States has pleaded guilty to exporting firearms, ammunition, and sensitive military equipment to North Korea under the direction of Pyongyang, according to the United States Department of Justice. Now, Sheng Hanwen, who is 42 years, a resident of Ontario, California, admitted to one count of conspiracy to violate the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, a 1977 law that allows the United States president to restrict commerce on national security grounds, and one count of acting as an unregistered agent of a foreign government. Prosecutors said that in 2023, when shipped at least 3 containers of firearms, one of which arrived in Nampo, North Korea, via Hong Kong to facilitate the smuggling operation, he purchased a firearms business in Austin, Texas, and used falsified documents to hide the contents of the shipment. And when allegedly bought around 60,000 rounds of 9mm ammunition and acquired sensitive technology, including a chemical threat identification device for exports to North Korea. Now, investigators believe he was directed by North Korean officials he had met at the country's embassy in China before entering the United States on a student visa right back in 2012. Authorities also reported that Wen received approximately $2 million to fund the operation. During questioning by the FBI, he stated that the North Korean government intended to use the weapons and ammunition in preparation for a potential conflict with South Korea. Now, according to court filings, Wen knowingly exported military-grade materials without the necessary licenses and failed to notify the United States Attorney General that he was acting on behalf of a foreign government as required by law. He was arrested in December 2024 and is scheduled for sentencing in August. He faces a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison for violating the IEEPA and up to 10 years for operating as an unregistered foreign agent. Now, moving over to the advancement in technology, we see that Apple unveils subtle yet smart AI upgrades for iPhone, Mac, and more. Now, Apple opened its annual Worldwide Developers Conference with a clear message. Artificial intelligence is now deeply woven into its ecosystem. From live translations to personalized fitness support, the company continues to roll out a series of practical, though not groundbreaking AI-powered features for its flagship devices. Unlike the dramatic hardware debuts of the last 2 years, this year's keynote emphasized refined integration over reinvention. Apple appears to be playing the long game, enhancing user experience through gradual improvement while positioning its AI strategy as subtle but essential. One of the biggest announcements was AI-enabled live translation. The feature will work across iPhone, iPod, Mac, Apple Watch, and even AirPods, supporting real-time interpretation of messages, FaceTime, and phone calls. While competitors like Google and Meta have offered similar capabilities, Apple's edge lies in its seamless ecosystem-wide rollout. Now, Apple is also revamping the phone and message apps to give users more control and clarity. Call screening will now identify unknown callers and display their reason for calling without users needing to answer. Unknown text will be filtered into a separate folder, and group chats will get livelier with new backgrounds and polling features. Also coming, Hold Assist, which waits on the line so users don't have to mimic a feature Google Pixel users have enjoyed for years. While Apple's AI updates may not wow on the surface, their potential lies in deeper integration. The company is also opening its own device AI models to third-party developers, enabling more apps to deliver intelligent features without relying on cloud computing. Apple Maps will now remember user routines, and the new workout buddy on Apple Watch offers tailored fitness guidances. Now, users will also be able to conduct visual searches based on images on their screens, ideal for spotting those shoes you like in an Instagram post. Well, technology right there. Although Apple did not offer new details on its delayed AI-enhanced Siri, the company reaffirmed the improvement and development. Now, also, Apple's operating system is getting a major visual refresh with the launch of iOS 26, jumping ahead in naming to align with calendar years. The new design, dubbed Glass, features translucent, glossy surfaces inspired by Vision Pro's interface. Now, this marks Apple's biggest UI overhaul since iOS 7, and it unifies versioning across all devices, a move toward a more cohesive ecosystem. Now, two standout upgrades aim to improve daily workflows. Mac Spotlight Search will now perform actions across apps, like sending emails or managing tasks without opening separate apps. This mirrors the emerging trend of AI agents across the tech industry. Meanwhile, iPads will now support resizable and persistent windows, offering a more laptop-like experience for multiple taskers. Now, while Apple's WWDC didn't deliver a flashy AI revolution, it signaled the company's commitment to refining its products through smart, quiet innovation. This update, set to roll out in fall 2025, may not leapfrog competitors, but with over 2 billion active devices worldwide, Apple may not need to be first to dominate. This is where we'll be drawing the curtain on today's Flash News. Until next time, remember, we're bringing you untold stories and Undaunted at the top of the hour, 8 p.m. Until then, do have a pleasant day and stay safe.